Chapter 22. Michael's Christmas Eve. Chicago, Illinois, Christmas Eve, 5:45 p.m. The address on the mailbox clearly read 148. This home was gorgeous. Compared to the other houses on this block, it boasted a freshness apparent to the naked eye. Not built over 100 years ago like the other neighboring homes, this house stood out without the aid of holiday decorations. The brickwork was immaculate, as was the crystal-clear bay window that captured and then reflected the headlights of an oncoming car. The formal dining room featured a dining table made of glass, sitting on a black marble pedestal. It looked as if it was just delivered within the last few days. The dining room chairs were also modern, with thick black cushions and upholstered arms. A grandfather clock ticked away in the far corner of the room. Although brand new, the clock still looked like a grandfather indeed owned it. The walls were covered with exquisite silver and black small-print wallpaper that had recently been hung. The carpeting was a light beige Berber that looked as if it had never even been stepped upon. The dark oak doorframe and cove molding woodwork were gorgeous. The furnishings in the living room were all brand new and distinctively modern. Sleek black leather chairs, brass accent pieces, stylish lamps, and large sofa-sized paintings filled the room with a touch of elegance. The interior of the home was just as spectacular as the exterior. In the kitchen, Michael was dressed extra special for the occasion. He looked very handsome, wearing a dark blue pair of dress pants, a light blue shirt, and a blue and gold tie. He took a sheet of cookies out of the oven and placed it onto the countertop to cool. He walked to the kitchen table covered with many arranged plates of desserts and snack items. Nothing substantial, such as a main course of golden brown turkey or succulent ham, was within sight. He unfolded a pewter-colored silk tablecloth back in the dining room and covered the large dining room table. As he pulled and tugged at the tablecloth, he gazed at the grandfather clock. "I'm running behind." It was a few minutes to 6. He hurried into the kitchen, retrieved trays of cookies from the kitchen, and placed them on the dining room table. As the dining room table became a kaleidoscope of sweets and appetizers, he became more and more excited. He set the last tray of cookies on the table and walked over to the corner of the room opposite the grandfather clock. He pushed the open button on a high-end CD player, and the disc drawer slid out of the player. A red LED display flashed. No disc. He opened the glass case door under the CD player and retrieved a compact disc. He removed the CD from the jewel case and placed it in the CD drawer. The drawer slid back inside the player as he gave it a slight nudge. He pushed a button, and the LED display read Track 1. The CD played through the pedestal speakers sitting on the floor. The clear and flawless sounds of Silver Bells, as sung by Johnny Mathis, filled the room. Chime, 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 chime. Almost in unison with the chorus of Silver Bells, the chimes complemented Johnny's voice and brought the room to life. It was 6 p.m., on Christmas Eve. Michael stood motionless, as if he was waiting for something to happen. He only needed to wait a few seconds, and then the doorbell rang. He smiled widely and ran to the front door. As he opened it, he was greeted with, "Merry Christmas, Michael." "Merry Christmas, Denny. Sorry I'm late. My plane was delayed due to the weather. Will you look at all this snow?" said Denny. "I am so glad you're here. Come in. Let me have your coat. How was the flight otherwise?" Handing his coat to Michael, Denny replied, "Oh, my flight was fine. A little bumpy over the mountains, but otherwise it was great. Am I the first one to arrive?" "Yes, but the grandfather clock just chimed 6 times, so the night is young. I've got my fingers crossed that the rest of the guests will arrive shortly." "I'm sure they will, Mike," replied Denny as he walked into the house. "Wow, this place is unbelievable, Mike. You did an excellent job. It's very similar to the old house. Everything looks fantastic." "Thanks, Denny. I tried to stay close to the old house as possible, but some changes had to be made due to modern-day building codes and restrictions. The decorating wasn't any easier, but I had a lot of help from a few professionals, which recommended certain items. They did an excellent job, Mike. This place should be on the cover of Better Homes and Gardens. I am just so impressed. Well, I hope Ariana and the rest of the guests feel the same way you do." The doorbell rang. "Looks like we're about to find out," said Denny. Michael walked to the front door and stopped. He took a deep breath and looked at Denny. Denny nodded, and Michael opened the door. "Merry Christmas, Michael," shouted one lone voice. "Merry Christmas, Martha," Michael exclaimed as he opened the storm door. "It's so good to see you. I wasn't sure what would happen this evening," said Michael as he started to get very excited. "Merry Christmas, Martha," shouted Dennis as he entered the foyer.
"Oh, my God, you scared the life out of me, Dennis," said Martha. "I didn't know anyone else was here. It's so good to see you, Dennis. Come here and hug me."
Dennis walked over to Martha and embraced her. "Scaring the life out of you would be quite a trick now, wouldn't it?"
"Not for the next 24 hours. Wouldn't that be a kick in the head? Here I just got my life back just a few minutes ago, and you go and take it away from me," she replied.
Michael took Martha's coat, and as he hung it up in the front foyer closet, he asked, "So, are the others coming?" Martha looked at Michael and Dennis.
"Well, to be perfectly honest, I came ahead of the others to see if you were mentally ready for this gathering. We didn't want to visit you if it would be too difficult to handle. You seem to be in decent spirits. The fact that Dennis is here with you is a great asset. Do you feel you are ready for this experience, Michael?"
Michael walked up to Martha and placed his hands on her shoulders. "I don't know if I will ever be ready for this, Martha. All I do know is that I desperately need to feel the love of my family and friends again. I need to hold Ariana and my children. I have waited so long. It may have only been a year, but it felt like an eternity."
"Okay, but if you begin to feel uncomfortable or stressed, I will dismiss the guests early to spare you further anxiety. Is that agreeable to you, Michael?"
"Please, Martha, no matter what my state of mind, let me have my family back for the full 24 hours. 12 months is a very long time to be without the ones you love."
"People go on living without their loved ones for the rest of their lives. They manage to rebuild their world and start again. Why do you find that concept so difficult?"
"I guess for the same reasons you found it so difficult as well, Martha. You were never married. You never started again after losing your family. You, of all people, should understand the curse and the gift that this house bestows upon its dwellers. It is a magical and enchanted place for 24 hours each year, but I just hold my breath and wait until next Christmas for the rest of the year. The 364-day curse is well worth the 24-hour gift of life that it shares with all of us for that single day. I can never get on with my life or start anew. If I did, I would sacrifice the house's magic and lose the chance to see my loved ones forever."
"And you are willing to live the rest of your life waiting for a single day per year to be truly happy?"
I don't have much choice, do I? Either I accept the gift and the conditions that accompany it, or I lose the opportunity to be with my loved ones until I too pass on to the spiritual life. How do I explain to a new wife that my deceased wife visits me every Christmas and stays the night? I can't have it both ways. It's one way or the other. I realize that this is a choice that no other living person in the world has the option to make. But if given that opportunity, I am sure that they would decide in a second to live as you did for many years and as I will for many years to come. Dennis joined the conversation. I would have to agree with Michael if I were in his shoes, but I am not. Even though my real biological parents visit this house once every year, and I miss seeing them, it is not the same. I didn't even know who they were until a few short years ago. But if it were my wife and my kids, or even my adoptive parents that perished, I would make the same sacrifice throughout the year for that one 24-hour period of happiness. Hopefully that bliss would fill my heart for the other 364 days of the year. Martha smiled at both of them and replied,
You have been thinking about this quite a bit, haven't you, Michael? You have realized much quicker than I what a double-edged sword the magic of this house can truly be at times. You seem ready for this celebration to me. Thus, I see no reason to delay it any longer. Why don't you get that, Michael?
Michael started to say, "Get what?" when the doorbell rang. Michael smiled at Martha and walked to the door.
Merry Christmas, Daddy.
"Merry Christmas, Dad." Crying tears of joy, Michael opened the storm door and yelled back, "Merry Christmas, Nicole. Merry Christmas, David." Nicole ran into the house and was in Michael's arms. Kneeling to receive her embrace, he hugged her tightly. "I have missed you so much, my little munchkin." David ran into the house and hugged his father as well. "Dad, I can't believe we're here. We didn't know if we would be allowed to visit you. I'm so happy to be home again." David, you have no idea how happy I am to see you, son," Michael said as he hugged David and Nicole to his chest. As they continued to embrace, tears flowed down their faces. Michael lifted his eye from the cherub-like faces of his children and looked up at the door. There he saw an angel standing before him. Ariana stood just inside the foyer and smiled widely at Michael as she wept golden tears of joy. Michael gently released his embrace from the children and stood slowly. Walking as if in suspended animation, he walked toward Ariana. He reached out and placed his hand on her face. He could feel the warmth of her skin upon his hands as he looked deep into her blue eyes. "I love you with all of my heart. I will always love you." "Oh, Michael, I love you so much," she replied as she fell into his arms and kissed him passionately. Several minutes passed as the Carter family, now reunited, cherished these first moments of Christmas Eve. Not a word was spoken as they hugged and kissed one another repeatedly. Finally, Michael said through tear-ridden eyes, "I thank God for bringing you home to me, if only for a day." "Your faith was strong, Michael. Your renewed faith in your family and love brought us home again," Ariana replied. "And the rebuilding of this house as well," Michael added. Dennis walked in from the dining room and said, "Welcome home, sis." Ariana walked to Dennis and embraced him. "I didn't know you would be here, Dennis. It's so good to see you." "I'm so glad you came home. Michael was very concerned that you might not," Dennis replied. "We didn't know whether we would be here ourselves until just a few moments ago," Ariana said. As Michael joined Ariana and Dennis, the doorbell rang again. "I think you should answer the door, Michael," Ariana said. Michael opened the door to a loud, riveting, "Merry Christmas, Mikey." "Jack, Wanda, Merry Christmas," Michael shouted back. Jack flung open the storm door and entered the house in a flash. Michael wrapped himself around Jack. "I have missed you more than I ever thought, Jack. I know that doesn't sound as it was intended, but just believe me when I say I missed my friends." "I know, Mike. We have missed you very much as well. I only wish I could have helped you rebuild this magnificent house," Jack replied. Wanda spoke up.
Yes, Michael, the house is beautiful. Come here and hug me, you handsome devil, you.
"Wanda, you have to stop saying that word, devil. She says it all the time. It drives everyone crazy," Jack said.
Oh, hush, it's just a saying,
replied Wanda as she embraced Michael. The doorbell rang again. I'll get this one, Michael, Ariana said. As she opened the door, she was greeted by the familiar phrase of the day. Merry Christmas, Ariana, her parents Arthur and Marie shouted. Merry Christmas, Michael. Boy, we sure did miss coming down to visit you last year. How are you holding up? Arthur asked. Merry Christmas, Art and Marie. I'm doing much better now that my family is back by my side. I have missed you all so much. Oh, by the way, I have a surprise for you, he said as he pointed into the dining room. Merry Christmas, Mom and Dad, yelled Dennis.
Dennis, you came home for the holidays. It's about time. It's been, 2 years now? Said Marie.
I know, Mom, but even I couldn't help not being here last year. I promise to make it every Christmas from now on, okay? He replied.
Oh, that would be wonderful, she exclaimed as Art joined her and Dennis for a family hug.
As the activity within the house continued, so did the front doorbell ringing. The following guests to arrive were Michael's parents, Anthony and Dorothy, accompanied by Michael's brother Billy. Merry Christmas, Michael, they shouted as they entered the house's foyer carrying trays of cookies. Mom, Dad, Billy, Merry Christmas, and welcome to the new house on Festive Lane, Michael said. Wow, nice pad, Michael. This is what I miss in heaven, said Billy. Michael asked, and what is that, Billy? Walls. I miss walls and privacy and pizza and rock and roll and, well, I miss you too, Michael, Billy replied. Thanks, Billy. I miss you as well. Isn't there rock and roll in heaven? I would think with all of the musical talent up there, the place would be rocking around the clock. Well, there are quite a few cool cat musicians, but they only get together and jam once in a while. Buddy Holly is cool. But if I hear that Peggy Sue song one more time, I swear I'm gonna barf, Billy replied. Michael laughed. Why don't you take David upstairs? I've outfitted one of the rooms with a few guitars and a drum set. A drum set? David yelled. Cool, Dad. Ariana helped stow away the coats and took the trays of food from Michael's folks. As Michael was absorbed in talking with his parents, Ariana walked through the house and was mesmerized. She gazed at the house, at the furnishings and artwork placed strategically throughout each room. As she set the trays of cookies on the kitchen table, she marveled at the kitchen's modern decor. Unlike the dark woods of the house she remembered, this new home was very light and airy. The kitchen cabinets were a light oak wood color versus the original house's dark walnut color. The floors were wooden but were pale in color and boasted a contemporary pattern. As she stood, taking it all in, Michael entered the kitchen with more trays of cakes and cookies. She saw him out of the corner of her eye. This is a charming home, Michael. I'm so proud of you. You have designed and built a magnificent house. I built this house for you and the kids. There was no other reason to build it. It was a great deal of work, but I had lots of help. I contracted the company I worked for to rebuild the house. My boss assigned me to the job as general contractor. I actually got paid for working on our house, he replied. Well, it looks great. Who helped you decorate the interior? I remember these aren't the tastes of the Michael Carter. A professional decorator helped me with the inside design and accents. She was accommodating. She, as in Sharon? You know about her, huh? Ariana walked over to Michael and wrapped her arms around his neck. Yes, I know about her. Why didn't you have a relationship with her, Michael? She is beautiful, and although she is a bit aggressive, I think she wanted to be with you. I just couldn't. I love you so much, I can't even look at another woman. Oh, I seem to recall you had no problem looking her over at her apartment one evening a few months back, Ariana said. Oh, my God, you saw that? Thank God I didn't do anything. I would have been mortified knowing my wife watched me having sex with another woman, he shouted. Oh, Michael, I would have closed my eyes at that part. And she smiled. Seriously, you should have other relationships, Michael. I am very flattered that you want to remain loyal to me, but I am not in your life regularly any longer. You can't live your entire life waiting for Christmas Eve but once every year. You have to get on with your life. It would make me happy if you did. I can't. If I do, you won't come back to visit me anymore. You would think I don't need you if I was to be with another woman. I need you more than I ever have, Ariana. I will not sacrifice your love and companionship that I hold so dear to my heart, if only for one day, just to have a relationship the rest of the year. Besides, what would I tell this new woman? Sorry, but every year I have plans for Christmas for the rest of my life, and you're not invited? Well, if that were to happen, then maybe it would be better if we didn't come to visit. Maybe you would be happy enough without us. No, I have worked very hard to make this happen again. It's my life, and if I want to waste it all year long for one day with you and the kids, that is my choice, he replied in frustration. Did you hear what you just said, Michael? Waste your life for the whole year? That's ludicrous. You are still young. You have so much to offer another living human being who could love you daily, every day, maybe even have children with her. As he broke away from her in a bit of a rage, he said, No, stop it, Ariana. I will not give up the one gift I can enjoy every Christmas. It's a very precious gift. No one else in the world is given a gift like this, and you want me to throw it away? I refuse to do that. I love you and the kids far too much to ever give up the miracle of being with you once a year. End of discussion. Ariana stood silently and then said, Let's not waste the little and precious time we have arguing about this situation, Michael. If you feel that strongly, then I will abide by your decision. Thank you. I'm sorry. The last thing I ever thought I would do this day would be to argue with you. I can't believe I just did that. Forgive me. I can't help that I have these feelings that I do for you and the children. I will love you for the rest of my life and beyond. I am eternally yours, Ariana. Ariana hugged Michael tightly. I know, Michael. I love you just as much. I only want to make sure that you are happy, that's all. If you honestly feel that living your life to one day a year will bring you joy and serenity, then I will make it my goal to make that one day the happiest of your life. Michael kissed Ariana deeply, and she returned the kiss. Nicole came running into the kitchen.
Daddy, Mommy, come see all the cookies on the table. They all taste so good. Nicole, I warned you about overeating during this visit. You will get a tummy ache down here, remember? Ariana asked. But, Mommy, the cookies are shaped like gingerbread men and Christmas stockings, she shouted.
Yes, Nicole, they are all magnificent, but you have to pace yourself, honey. Mommy is right. You will get sick if you eat too much.
Okay, but come look, she shouted as she tugged on their hands and led them to the dining room.
As they walked into the dining room, they could hear a man say,
Nicky, want to see me pull off my head?
Nicole screamed, and then Michael yelled at Uncle Wally, who had just arrived. Everyone in the dining room laughed at the exchange. This year was a special Christmas for Uncle Wally and his wife Louise. Their son James was finally allowed to join his family in heaven on this Christmas day. Michael greeted Uncle Wally and recognized James instantly. James, happy to have you with us. It's about time you were let off for good behavior. It's more like parole, Michael, but I'm not complaining, James replied. The guests were arriving faster by the minute as the doorbell rang non-stop. Many of the guests filtered through the house and made their way to the family room adjacent to the kitchen. As several people started to walk into the family room, Martha walked out. She was sitting in the family room relaxing when Michael and Ariana had their confrontation in the kitchen just a few feet away. The result of the discussion left Martha perplexed and confused. She remembered how she wasted her life waiting for one day a year when she owned the house. Although she didn't regret doing so, she regretted not living her life to the fullest the other 364 days of the year. As she recalled the best times of her life, she could only remember the time when Michael and Ariana came into it a mere 6 years ago. Her only other memories were a lifetime of Christmas Eve. The rest of her life was a blur. She wondered if Michael would be able to adjust to such a life. He was so young. He could be so happy if he only learned to combine the miracle of Christmas with the other 364 days of the year. As Martha walked into the kitchen, a voice asked,
"Penny for your thoughts."
Martha, being deep in thought, was startled and replied,
"What?"
Michael's father was standing before her.
"Seems like you were trying to resolve a problem, Martha. Can I be of assistance?"
"Maybe you can, Anthony. Sit down with me and let's talk."
As Martha and Anthony discussed the situation, the guests mingled and proceeded into the family room. A massive, fresh-cut Christmas tree was in the corner of the room opposite a large stone fireplace. Decorated with gold garland and multicolored ornaments, the tree seemed to come alive as the tiny twinkling lights reflected off the shiny globes hanging off of each crooked branch. Every guest who entered the room commented on how beautiful the tree looked. Even more so were the comments about the condition and design of the house. Everyone was very impressed with Michael's work in such a short time. Ariana escaped from the dining room area where Michael talked with his folks. She ascended the staircase to the second floor and was immediately stunned. The old house's narrow hallway was replaced with a much wider hallway that looked over the family room. She stopped at the first room and peeked inside as she walked down the hall. This was a bedroom decorated with a little girl in mind. It was Nicole's room. She wondered why Michael would decorate the room in this manner. As she looked around the room at the white canopy bed with a pink dust ruffle and pink pillows, her mind wandered. "Do you like it?" she heard from behind her. "Oh, Michael, it's absolutely precious. But why is it decorated like this?" "This is Nicole's room. I wanted her to have a room of her own when she visits me, even if it is only once a year." "Well, it's charming, and I'm sure she will just adore it." "Come on. I'll show you the rest of the rooms." As they walked out of Nicole's room, Michael took Ariana by the hand and led her to the next room down the hall. As he opened the door, sound blasted out of the room that could literally wake the dead. Michael shouted over the music, "This is a special room I made for David. It's a music room. It's totally soundproof." Ariana placed her fingers in her ears and poked her head into the room. This room had a dormer with a set window and much higher ceilings than Nicole's room. The walls were covered with posters and pictures of rock stars and musicians. A large gray pewter drum set sat in the corner. There were 12 different drums to the set and 7 cymbals. Michael's brother Billy was pounding away on the drums as David wailed away on his guitar. Ariana stepped back out of the room, and Michael shut the door. Silence once again. "Michael, that room is so great. David is in his glory." "I wanted David to be as comfortable as possible when he visits." Michael took Ariana by the hand again and continued down the hall. They passed David's bedroom, tastefully decorated in a football motif. From the wallpaper to the bedding, the room screamed football. They looked at a guest bathroom, a guest bedroom, another guest bedroom, and finally came to the end of the hall. "This is the main bedroom," Michael said as he opened the door. Ariana walked inside the room and was completely overcome by its beauty. This room was enormous, with a separate sitting area that featured a cherry wood desk and 2 maroon leather-tufted chairs. Around the corner was another door that led to the main bathroom, wholly tiled in white marble. A double-bowl marble sink was on one wall with full-width mirrors. The other side of the enormous bathroom featured a built-in jacuzzi-style tub that was big enough for at least 2 people to sit in comfortably. A separate shower stall, with etched glass doors, complemented the polished brass fixtures in the shower, tub, and basins. Ariana continued to walk past the master bath area. She came upon the most magnificent 4-poster bed she had ever seen. A dark cherry wood frame featured posters at least 6 feet tall and carved articulately. The king-size bed was adorned with a hunter green down comforter that concealed the plump feather bed underneath it. Matching pillow shams in soft mauves and rose colors coordinated nicely with this room's wall coverings' color accents. Matching window treatments of full draperies and padded cornices complemented the bedding ensemble. End dressers of cherry wood with inlaid glass sat next to each side of the bed. An oversized matching tallboy and a long-frame dresser were also in the room. A brick gas-burning fireplace with ceramic logs was adjacent to the foot of the bed. Even with all of the pieces of furniture present, the room was still clutter-free and almost sparse. Michael walked over to the fireplace and flipped on a nearby wall switch. A blazing fire appeared under the logs and cast a glow about the room. "Is it okay to have the fire lit? I mean, are you afraid of fire now, since the accident?" "No, Michael. It doesn't bother me at all. It's warm and romantic." Michael walked over to a large built-in cabinet over the fireplace and opened the sliding wooden doors. The cabinet contained a large television, DVR, and surround sound system. Michael turned on the audio. Ariana could hear soft music coming from all areas of the bedroom, but couldn't see the presence of any speakers. "Is there music coming out from under that bed, Michael?" "Yes. I hid all of the speakers under something or within the ceiling. There are 12 speakers in this room alone." As the rich tones of the music echoed throughout the room, Ariana sat on the bed and fell backwards onto the mattress. She looked up at the ceiling and saw herself in a mirror. "Michael, a mirrored ceiling above the bed? How kinky." "Well, if I only get to see you for a single night a year, I'm going to make sure I can see as much of you as possible." Michael dimmed the lights ever so slightly and crawled into bed with Ariana. "It's been over a year since I've felt the warmth of your touch. I think about making love with you always," Ariana said. "I have been dreaming of this moment for the same amount of time, darling," he replied and kissed her again. "What about the guests, Michael? Won't they miss us, or, worse, won't they hear us?" she asked. "Miss us? Maybe. Hear us? Not a chance. I soundproofed this room as well," he replied as he raised his eyebrows and smiled. As Michael and Ariana got reacquainted, the guests enjoyed their annual Christmas gift of life for a day. Uncle Wally played cards with Ariana's father as Marie and Dorothy picked up glasses and plates left around the house. Michael's father and Martha were still talking at the kitchen table.
"Well, then you agree that this is a necessary step."
Yes, I'm afraid so. I can't see any other alternative. Michael will be distraught, but it's for his sake. He will never get on with his life unless we take this drastic measure," Anthony replied.
"I thought he would be able to adjust better to the situation. After I heard how determined he was to live his life alone, except for these Christmas holidays, I knew we would have to revoke the visiting privileges he had been entitled to all these years. It breaks my heart to have to do this to him, but maybe he will forgive us some day."
"When should we tell him?"
"Let's wait until they are leaving tomorrow. I don't want him to become so depressed or angry while we are still here."
"I agree. Well, I guess I should find that son of mine and spend some quality time together, since we will never have this opportunity again."
"The worst thing a living person can do is stop living before they are even dead." "I know. I was just like Michael when I was the only one left living. I too gave up on normal life experiences and lived only for Christmas. I can't let that happen to Michael. We should tell the others of our decision."
"They aren't going to like it. They look forward to spending this time on Earth as much as Michael looks forward to seeing us all. They are going to miss being able to come here every Christmas."
"I know. They are going to be heartbroken about this. Hopefully they will understand and agree to make the sacrifice, knowing how important it will be to Michael."
What about Ariana and the kids? Should we tell them now as well?
"I don't think that would be wise. She would surely tell Michael, and we don't want that. Secondly, I am sure she would be against this decision as much as Michael. We will tell her once she leaves the house tomorrow evening."
I believe Michael and Ariana are upstairs, as is David. Nicole has fallen asleep on the couch in the living room. Let's gather the rest of the guests in the family room and make the announcement.
As Anthony and Martha stood at the kitchen table, they passed the word that there was a meeting in the family room. All of the guests started to gather in the area. Anthony helped Martha onto a wooden table so she could be heard over the crowd. The room quickly filled up, and, except Billy, who was still upstairs with David, all were present. Anthony told Martha to proceed without Billy. He would inform Billy of the decision some time before they departed. Martha started to tell the guests about her and Anthony's conversation. Overhearing Michael and Ariana's argument forced them to make a very unpopular decision. As she explained the decision, the crowd sighed with disappointment. She assured them all that this was the best decision for everyone, and although this decision saddened her, it had been made, and it was final, unless a guest opposed the decision.
"So, we are all in agreement. We will give Michael back his life, and to do so we will sacrifice our visiting privilege for now and forever. Tomorrow, as we leave this house, we will be saying goodbye to Michael for the last time. Until we are completely out of his life, he has no reason to start over," she concluded.
The guests reluctantly agreed. Many were crying and hugging, for they did not get to see each other in this way in heaven. Souls did not talk or laugh or eat or drink. They communicated spiritually, not physically. They would miss the ability to take back their human form and indulge in human behavior, even if it was only for a mere 24 hours a year. Out of the crowd came a question. "I take it we will keep this decision from Michael and Ariana?" asked Dennis.
"Oh, my Dennis, I forgot all about you. Yes, we must not say a word to them or the children."
"I guess that means I won't be seeing my parents ever again as well."
"I'm afraid so, Dennis. I am so very sorry. If you wish for this not to happen, you can vote against the decision that has been made. Unless we are a 100% majority, the decision will not be enforced."
"I understand why you have made this decision, and I agree. I can always see Michael, so I do have an advantage over the rest of you. I am also human like Michael, and I can go on enjoying life as I always have. But I will miss all of you very much." Ariana's parents came to their son's side, and they each took one of his hands.
I think we need to sit down and talk for a while, son.
"I think that's a splendid idea, Dad." As Dennis and his parents walked out of the family room, Martha made one last statement.
"Now remember, not a word of this to Michael, Ariana, or the children. We don't want to ruin this time they have to spend with each other by making them angry and depressed about our decision. I will tell them after the rest of you have all departed for the final time."
The crowd agreed, and they slowly dispersed in small groups. As they left the family room, they discussed the situation amongst themselves. Anthony helped Martha down from the wooden table and onto the floor. As she stood, she wondered if her decision was sane. Jack and Wanda approached her from the other side of the room.
"They aren't going to like this one bit. You know that," Jack said.
I know, Jack, but what choice do we have? Martha asked.
Maybe we are jumping the gun here. It's only been 1 year since the accident. Maybe Michael will come around and get used to the idea and finally give in to his human needs for affection, love, friendship, and desire and start dating someone else.
Someone else like Sharon? See how well that worked, Jack.
Well, you have to admit she was a real looker.
You and your lookers. Michael is not your typical male bronco bull Jack. He is a compassionate and caring man. He is a scarce breed, said Wanda.
I sure will miss him, but at least Wanda and I are together.
Wanda gave Jack a big hug and kissed him on the cheek.
You're good friends to Michael. He will appreciate your support. Maybe not immediately, but he will realize we all did the right thing somewhere down the road, Martha said.
12:01 a.m. Christmas Day, 148 Festive Lane. Michael and Ariana lay in bed as Christmas morning arrived, snuggling in silence. Michael looked into her eyes and began to cry. "Why are you crying, Michael?" "Because I will be without you again in less than 18 hours. "I know, Michael. I don't look forward to saying goodbye to you either. It will break my heart to leave you for another year, but look at the bright side. It could be goodbye forever, but instead, it's only for another 12 short months. And then I will love you and hold you again," said Michael.